Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon, and this is Shannon's Book Nook. And today we're going to be talking about all of the books that I read in February. Let's get into it. So, I'm going to be completely honest here. The month of February was not great. And to be quite honest, also January wasn't the best. So I've had a very mid start for my reading in 2025, which is very disappointing. Um, I only read 8 books in the month of February. 8. I think that is the least amount of books that I've read in like 2 years. So yeah, I don't even know what to say. So in the month of February, um, like I said, 8 books. One of those was an audiobook only. Then I read 7 of them mixed media. So I did like a lot of tandem reading where I had the book in front of me with the audiobook. Okay. I did DNF one book and I read 3 arcs, which is pretty good. We still want to knock out those arcs. I have quite a few of them. Then I read 3,003 pages. I listened to 101 hours, 18 minutes, and 12 seconds of audiobooks. My average rating was a 3.31, which is not great. The genre that I read the most was romance. I do have a little bit of fantasy romance mixed in with that. So, out of my 8 books, 3 of them had representation. And to this point this year, I have read 7 of my 25 and 2025 books, which is great. That means I'm already making a pretty good dent in those books that I want to make sure I get read. So over the course of 2025 so far, my goal is to read 100 books in the year, and I have currently read 22. So we're on the road. February may not have been the best month, but hopefully March can turn it around. So let's get into what books I actually read. So I started the month with a bit of a disappointing read. I did read The Lagos Wife by Vanessa Walters, and this was an Atria book that was sent to me. It was sent to me by the publishers, and I was very disengaged with this book. I had a really hard time staying in the story. So we follow Nicole, who lives in Nigeria, and she has gone missing. And her auntie Claudine, um, decides to go and look for her niece who is missing, and there are a lot of secrets that are being kept. The police are not really looking into the disappearance. They think no foul play has happened. So they're not putting a lot of resources into finding where Nicole has gone or what has happened to her, which frustrates Claudine. And some secrets and other things start to come to light both sides of the story. The execution just fell short for me personally. I didn't really care about any of the characters. This is a thriller slash mystery. And I wanted to love this, but I was so incredibly bored. So I gave this 2 stars. Then my second read was probably one of my most anticipated reads for releases for the 2025 year. And I read Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. And I feel like I don't need to tell you what this is about because I feel like this has been everywhere. And if you are a fantasy or a fantasy romance or fantasy girly or boy, you probably know what this book is about because it's everywhere. So this is the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing series, and I cannot give you a synopsis of this book because, that would be a bunch of spoilers. But I will say, I know a lot of people were disappointed by this book. Like, a lot of people are giving it 3 stars. They were like, this is just, what is this? And I feel like if you are only here for the romance in this story, you are missing out on a lot of things. And yeah, I could see why you wouldn't enjoy this book so much because the romance in this book, because of the situations that are going on, um, kind of takes a back seat. And this is definitely more fantasy, world building heavy. So I had a good time with it. And my mind is still reeling from that ending. I cannot wait for the 4th book. I know that Rebecca is taking a bit of a break, which is much deserved, but I am still mad about it. I cannot wait for the 4th book in this series. I did give this 4 stars. Then I read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, which is book 1 in the the Shepherd King duology. And this was also on my 25 and 2025. Onyx Storm was on my 25 and 2025. And this book, I predicted that I would give it 5 stars. Spoiler alert, I did not. We follow Elspeth, who has a voice in her head that is this mercurial spirit. This book is dark, it's atmospheric. Um, and I had a good time with it. The pacing kind of drags a little bit, but the world building, the magic, the atmosphere, just everything, the romance, I still had a good time with this book, even though it wasn't a 5 star for me. I did end up giving it a 3.5. I anticipate absolutely loving the second book in this duology, which is Two Twisted Crowns. Okay. So I look forward to reading that. I'm hoping to get to it in March, but I don't know how much reading I'm actually going to get in March. So we'll see. I read Looking for Smoke by K.A. Kubel. This one, I liked the subject matter that is discussed in this book. We are talking, this is a YA thriller slash, some parts could be considered horror. So, we are talking about a very real problem in this book, about murdered and missing Indigenous women, or the MMIW movement. Um, so we have in the book a couple of girls have gone missing under suspicious circumstances, and nobody seems to be doing a doggone thing about it, which, that kind of thing happens in real life, unfortunately, with different minority groups. And so the topics of this conference, the conversations that are happening on topics and subjects that are actually happening in the real world, I love that. But the pacing of this book, some of the other things about this book I didn't really love. So I did end up giving this a 3 star. All right, so the next book I read was Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. And this is a coming of age story that blends humor and heartfelt moments seamlessly. And so Mary Jane, she's a sheltered teenager where she is kind of thrust into the chaos of a rock star's household when she babysits, or nannies a young girl, a 5-year-old, for this family who um, is kind of helping a rock star get sober and all this stuff. So um, the adults in the adults in this story we have 2 sides. So Mary Jane's family, her mom and dad are very conservative, very narrow-minded, kind of prejudiced and racist. And then we have the little girl's family, who I am drawing a blank right now. I cannot remember the little girl's name, but her dad is a sex therapist, and her mom, I believe, is just a stay-at-home mom. And then you add in the rock star and the actress that are coming to the therapist for help with addiction. And you know what? Now that I think about it, the father is not specifically a sex therapist. He is a therapist that focuses on addiction. So, yeah, the rock star and his wife move in, and Mary Jane, who is sheltered, gets exposed to these things, and this is a journey of her self-discovery and the eye-opening experiences that she kind of encounters, are very entertaining and also thought-provoking. So while the pacing kind of gets a little slow towards the end, this book was very entertaining and definitely a memorable exploration of family, freedom, and learning to find your own voice. So I did end up giving Mary Jane 4 stars because I had a good time with it, and this was also a book club pick, so it was a great book to read for book club. Then I read Wild Love by Elsie Silver, which features Ford Grant and Rosie Belmont. And Ford Grant has just been listed as Forbes' most eligible bachelor. Um, but not only that, but he is also in this book having to navigate how to deal with being a single dad. He finds out that, one day this girl just shows up on his doorstep and, like, hi, you're my dad. And so he ends up, learning how to navigate that. And I don't know what it is, but about a single dad romance, but I love it. I love him so much. So in this book, like I said, about Ford and Rosie, Rosie is Ford's best friend's sister. So this is also, my best friend's sister romance on top of it. So it's a little bit forbidden, but they have always kind of tortured each other a little bit since they were younger. They have good banter. They kind of like give each other a hard time. And we know, as in the audience, that they both have feelings for each other, but they haven't ever talked about it. And just one day these feelings kind of just come out, and there's no, they decide to try it. And it was good. Yeah, I loved it. I loved everything about this book. Even the way that the third act breakup in this book, I can understand it, and I wasn't mad about it because I would have been pissed too if that had happened. So I ended up giving this 5 stars. This is my first 5 star of 2025, and I cannot believe it's an Elsie Silver book because I had a rough start with her books. So, yes. Oh goodness. Okay, this next one. Um yeah, The Fiance Dilemma by Elena Armis. This was an ARC that was sent to me by Atria. They're going to end up not sending me books cuz yeah. I did not like this at all. At all. And I have decided, because I'm going to make this quick, because there are a lot of people out there that might like Elena Armis. Her writing is not for me. Not for me. I gave The Spanish Love Deception 2 stars, and this is 2 stars, and I will not be reading anything else by this author. She's just not for me, and that's okay. But in this book, the plot is lacking, character development is lacking. There were a lot of things that just frustrated me, like this estranged father who is basically forcing her to get married, and instead of building a relationship with, no, I'm this man pissed me off. His PR person pissed me off, and the main female character, who I can't even remember her name, pissed me off because she's letting these people, she became a doormat for these people. So yeah, there's my rant. 2 stars, and I'm done. All right, so my last read of February is another HRR pick, another arc. That was The Astrology House by Corinne Jade. Corinne Jade. Okay. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I ended up finishing this like on the last day of February. So like yesterday. Okay. And if I had to tell you what this was about, I don't know if I could, because nothing about this book was very memorable. It is a thriller / mystery. There are a lot of characters to try and keep track of. I know there was Margot and her brother Adam, and then there was Renee and Ted, and there were too many people. Farah, Amy, there were a lot of people to try and keep track of, and I would be like, I don't know who this is, who is talking, who. So a lot of people to try and keep track of. I didn't care enough to try and figure it out either. So I did end up giving this 3 stars because of the little twist at the end. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting the person who was the guilty party to be the person that was the guilty party. I was thinking it was somebody else. So I will praise it for that. It surprised me on who was the guilty party. But everything other than that, it was just very mid for me. So I did give this 3 stars. So there you have it. Those are the 8 books that I read in the month of February. My little stack of books right here, they were, besides, Onyx Storm and Wild Love, everything else was kind of just very eh. So my top 3, I will say my top 3 books were Wild Love, Onyx Storm, and Mary Jane. And obviously this book won the month. So yeah, I appreciate you sticking around. If you did stick around for this long, don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to. And if you want to leave me an emoji letting me know that you were here, just leave me a heart for the month of February. And I will see you next time. Bye.